Hello, friends, and welcome to Bottle and Bond, a discussion of the James Bond movies and lore alongside spirited companions. I am Mike Scott, and I have been watching James Bond movies for nearly 30 years, but have never really taken a deep dive into the history and lore of this film franchise. So, alongside my friend Charlie, we are going to delve into each of the 25 Eon produced movies. During this episode, we will be enjoying a beverage or two that would pair nicely with the movie. Today, we will be discussing the 19th movie in the franchise, 1999's The World Is Not Enough. So find your cigarette case, prepare your favorite cocktail, shaken not stirred of course, and leave your hat at the door while we ponder this question. Should a Bond movie require multiple viewings to understand the plot? This is episode 0019, The World Is Not Enough. Charlie, welcome.
Thank you, Mike. I may need to go back for a third viewing to actually figure out what the plot was.
Nice.
It was certainly unnecessarily complicated.
It really was. Yeah, it took me a minute. We have two companion beverages today. We have the Talisker Single Malt 10-Year Scotch, a drink I've never had before. But that is the specific bottle that's in M's study.
Okay, it's good stuff.
And then I found a cocktail called the Pearls of Baku, which is kind of pomegranate forward.
Oh, I like the sound of it.
Errors and omissions. We were talking about my shot glass last week. I just wanted to point this out because I know our millions of Star Wars nerd fans will be upset if I didn't tell them. It was Salacious B. Crumb from Return of the Jedi. That's my shot glass. He's just this weird-looking Muppet kind of dude that laughs really obnoxiously.
Okay.
Charlie's
Wait,
not...
he was the guy that was in with Jabba the Hutt?
Yes.
Oh, and he had an actual name.
He did.
Did he have a name that they ever said in the movie, or is that just like...
I think it was just lore that was added later.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Or maybe the script had the name. I don't know.
Right, or the credits. Except, I guess you'd have credits for somebody who did that voice or something.
You think his cousin's Harry Crumb?
I think so.
Or maybe the artist Crumb?
Right.
Remember him?
No.
Felix the Cat, I think, is what he did.
Oh, is that right?
He did really perverted cartoons in the 70s.
Nice. Those were the days.
Yeah. Let's do the plot summary. After oil baron Sir Robert King is assassinated, James Bond is sent to investigate and protect the baron's previously kidnapped daughter, Electra. Bond believes the assassination was done by Renard, a man having trouble getting in touch with his feelings. He is also an anarchist and Electra's kidnapper. After some slap and tickle in Azerbaijan, Bond visits a nuclear cleanup site in Kazakhstan, where he meets the very convincing nuclear physicist Dr. Christmas Jones. Bond finds Renard stealing a nuke from the cleanup site, barely escapes the facility with Christmas, and continues his hunt for Renard, but ultimately discovers that Electra is behind the assassination and has been working with Renard. Not only does she kidnap M as revenge, Electra plans to disrupt oil pipelines by causing a nuclear meltdown in Istanbul, thus making her pipeline the only viable option. Working with Christmas and surprising ally Valentin Zukovsky, Bond kills Electra, then dispatches with Renard on a submarine and saves the day. Because it's Bond, Christmas comes at least twice this year. The world is not enough.
Yeah, that's a good line there right at the end, isn't it? Yeah.
We have Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, third of four appearances. Sophie Marceau as Electra King. Robert Carlyle as Renard, who I best know from the fantastic movie The Full Monty. He was also in Trainspotting.
Oh, he was in that?
He was in The Full Monty.
Of course, I haven't seen that since, the theater.
Yeah. Denise Richards as Dr. Christmas Jones. Glad we are waiting until after Thanksgiving to talk about Christmas.
Yeah, I know.
Judi Dench as M. This is third of 7 appearances. Desmond Llewellyn as Q. 17th of 17 appearances.
Makes a good exit, though.
Yeah. John Cleese as R. First of 2 appearances. Samantha Bond as Miss Moneypenny. Third of 4 appearances. Robbie Coltrane as Valentin Zukovsky. Second of 2 appearances. Maria Grazia Cusinata as Cigar Girl. Now, the director of the movie, Michael Apted, actually wanted her in the role of Electra, but her English wasn't quite good enough, but she begged for a role in the movie. So she's the assassin at the beginning.
Okay.
Goldie as Bullion, David Calder as Sir Robert King, Ulrich Thompson as Sasha Davidov, Serena Scott Thomas as Dr. Molly Warmflash, and
Okay.
Colin Salmon as Charles Robinson. This was directed by Michael Apted. He had previously directed Coal Miner's Daughter and Gorillas in
Really?
the Mist, a couple of action-heavy
Right?
espionage movies.
Boy, Coal Miner's Daughter, that's a good one.
Been
Have you
a
seen
long
that?
time since I've seen that.
No, it has for me too. But
Sissy
it's a good
Spacek
movie.
and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Screenplay by Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, and Bruce Fierstein. Music by David Arnold. Cinematography by Adrian Biddle. Production design by Peter Lamont. Theme song, The World Is Not Enough by Garbage. Music by David Arnold and lyrics by Don Black. They went back to the well there. Don Black's did a bunch of the older ones too.
Oh, really? Okay.
This premiered in the U.S. November 8th, 1999 at Bruin and Fox's Theater and Mann's Village Chinese Theater in Los Angeles. Opened wide in the U.S. November 19th, 1999. Opened in the U.K. November 26th, 1999. The budget adjusted for inflation was $192.3 million, and the worldwide box office adjusted for inflation $605.3 million, 17th of 25. Any history with this one? Did you see this in the theaters?
I did see it in the theater.
Okay.
I'll tell you, the thing I immediately remembered was that helicopter with the sweet saws on the bottom.
Yes.
That thing's pretty cool.
The thing that shows up one time and there's no way it's going to show
no,
up again.
No, they'll never make use of this again. It's strictly for cutting foliage off of trees. Mike.
Exactly.
That's the only thing it's going to do in this movie.
Yeah.
The other thing that I definitely remembered was that chair they clamp him into that breaks your neck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's a
medieval-
stressful scene.
medieval torture
right?
device
Yeah, I
there.
know, right? I mean, that's like that is not good.
I definitely did not see this one in the theater. We're almost to the first one I saw in the theater, but not quite. But I did, the first time I watched it was at my girlfriend's parents' house in 1999. That girlfriend is the Countess Tracy.
Oh,
So we saw it there. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep the first time I watched it, if I'm being honest.
wow.
But we'll go to the scene-by-scene breakdown.
All right.
We start off in Bilbao, Spain. Bond, bespectacled, arrives at a
Just part of the disguise.
Yeah.
That's all.
arrives at the Swiss bank. The banker has some money belonging to Sir Robert King. We see a woman walk in credited as Cigar Girl. She brings in some Romeo y Julietas, and Bond takes one. If it were not 25 degrees and snowy outside, maybe we would try some Romeo
I
and
know.
Juliet, 'cause
We
do
would
have
be
them.
doing that. We do. I know. We'll have to take that on once it gets to be spring and report back.
Cigar Girl asks Bond if he'd like to check her figures. We get our first quip. Oh, I'm sure they're perfectly rounded.
Yes.
Bond is looking for the killer of an MI6 agent, and he seems to think that the Swiss banker has some answers. And we know that, Swiss bankers are always very trustworthy. They would never withhold anything. So sure, he's going to tell him. Not.
Right.
The Swiss banker's threatened by Bond, and then Bond eventually blows up the room with his gun. So we got a gun bomb. That was an interesting one.
That was pretty wild, wasn't it?
And then Bond quips.
It's a good thing when they took the gun from him, they just left it on the desk right there
Yeah.
instead of taking it out to another room.
Yeah.
Because Bond could never reach 2 feet in front of him and grab that gun off the table.
All right. Bond quips, perhaps you failed to take into account my hidden assets.
Oh, that was good.
Bond demands the name from the banker, who is going to give it in return for protection, but he is then immediately killed by Cigar Girl, who then runs off.
Oh, I see. I didn't even notice that's who killed him.
I don't think you see her, but I think
Yeah.
he looked at something where he figured out it was her.
Oh, okay.
Now, he's getting into a shootout in the office, but then he gets saved by a shooter from the outside. And he then ties
Doesn't he see a laser on the guy or something, like the
Yeah,
laser
yes.
sight? I feel like that's our first laser in quite some time,
Yeah.
since his crotch was going to get lasered
Nice.
way back in the beginning.
Yeah. He then knocks out a henchman and then ties a rope to his waist and ties it around the henchman and then jumps out the window using the henchman as a block so that the henchman, when he hits the wall, it's going to stop him from hitting the ground.
You know, he could have he could have tied it to pretty much anything else in that
Yeah, he
room.
could have just tied it to that table that was in there.
Yeah. And it's also a good thing that was it a rope? I mean, it was like the pull for the blinds or something, right?
Yes.
It's a good thing that was the exact length
Yep.
once tied for him to land perfectly on the ground.
Right.
It was kind of cool though, actually. Although he removes it from his waist after he had tied it very easily and just casts it off when he gets to the sidewalk.
Yes, he did.
But, you know, you
But
got
he
to
gets
look
away.
suave. Yeah.
So now we go to MI6. Bond is there counting the money and brings Moneypenny a lovely Romeo and Juliet cigar, which she immediately throws away.
What does she say? I know where to put that.
Oh, that's right.
And because we live in a post-Bill Clinton world, I was very, very, very scared for a second there.
That was going on around that time, too.
I know. And
Maybe that was the joke.
I might have been.
I think you
because I
might.
was like very uncomfortable for a second, and then she threw it in the trash. Thankfully.
Kids, look up Monica Lewinsky if you want to know all that.
I mean, not if you're a kid, but yeah.
Bond does give us another quip here. Oh, Moneypenny, the story of our relationship. Close but no cigar.
Yeah.
You know the origin of the term close but no cigar?
No, I don't, but I can't wait to find out.
Oh, yeah. It was like a circus thing back in like the late 1800s where if you won a certain game, you'd win
Oh,
a cigar. But if
sure.
you didn't win, it was close but no cigar.
Wow.
That could have been completely made up. I remember reading it one time, so
We'll go with it.
we'll go with it.
We'll see. If somebody sends in and corrects us, then they win the prize for this week.
You get a cigar, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Even a Romeo and Juliet
Yeah.
cigar, actually, in
So-
a little glass tube thing.
Right. After Bond and Moneypenny banter, M summons Bond in, says something like, now that you're please finish with your affairs of state or whatever she says.
Yeah.
And she introduces Bond to Sir Robert King, the man whose money he just got and returned to him. Bond and M discuss how he managed to survive in Spain. He discovers that, and then they have a drink, and he discovers that something is wrong with the returned money because there's like there's bubbling on his fingers.
Yes, when he grabs the ice, his fingers start bubbling, and he realizes it's something that reacts with water.
Yeah. He tries to get to Sir Robert King in time, but the money detonates. There's a little pin on. They show this little pin on his chest,
And it beeps or
and
something.
it beeps, and the money detonates, and it blows him
You
up.
got to have a good beep or light flash
Yeah.
just to make sure the audience understands.
This is the first time we see MI6 blow up. Won't be the last though.
Let me ask you a couple of things here. Who is this guy, Robert King? Like, is he English?
He's just an oil baron. Yes,
Okay. He's English,
he's English.
but Electra's his daughter,
Yes,
and she's clearly Azerbaijani.
yes. Well, I think the mom's Azerbaijani, so she's
Okay.
but he owns that pipeline.
But they must have lived in Azerbaijan
did.
for
Yeah,
her to
because
have
he
that
owned the
accent?
pipeline. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We got a big hole in the wall now, and Bond, this is where we get another laser. You can see the laser on Bond's chest, and he
Right.
gets shot at, and it's Cigar Girl again.
Outside in a boat.
Yeah.
And conveniently, the Bat boat is parked right inside on the same floor right next to the vault.
Well, he does have to go down to Q branch.
Yeah.
But yes, the mini boat's right there, and he steals it and drives it right into the water.
Tell me you didn't think Bat boat immediately. It's all black. Like, I mean, come on.
That's a good comparison. Unfortunately, Bond never did get to check that assassin's well-rounded figures. No slap and tickle with him. But
Oh, no.
yeah, we do get boat chase time. As usual, the villain is a terrible shot, even with a high-powered machine gun and a grenade launcher.
I know, right?
Misses every time.
Yeah.
And
She can shoot when she's got the laser sight, which, by the way, a laser sight from like 100 yards where she's down on the water. I really wonder whether you can see that little.
but it was
thing.
also like it was the kind of gun you're not going to shoot with a laser. It wasn't like a sniper rifle.
Yeah,
It was like an automatic.
Yeah, and she was very far away
Yeah.
to use a laser. I don't know. I have a lot
Who
of
knows?
questions, but it apparently took them quite some time and many boats to film
I could
film
see
that scene. And there's some kind of actual like speed limit on that river
Yeah.
in England, so it just made it complicated to
Yeah.
film. But it's a pretty cool boat chase.
So yeah, the boat chase we had lot of back and forth between them. He's dodging around boats and stuff, and then there's this like little bridge thing underneath, or under a bridge. There's this little barricade, and he knows that he's not going to be able to get through it, so he dives the boat and goes under the bridge.
Underwater.
Yeah, straightens his tie,
Underwater.
which is one of the coolest things that's ever been done in a Bond movie.
It is cool.
Underwater tie straightening, and that was Pierce Brosnan's idea.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on record and say, in real life, I'll bet that little barricade is not actually under that bridge. I'll bet if your boat can fit under the bridge, you're allowed to drive under the bridge. Why would they block short boats from going through there?
Right.
But, it works for the movie.
Bond takes a shortcut to catch up.
Well, hang on. First,
Yes.
he rams into her boat.
Mm-hmm.
And the boat goes up on her boat and corkscrews in the air and lands in the water.
We get another corkscrew.
And there was no discernible slide whistle in this one. I was very disappointed.
Missed opportunity.
I wrote down no slide whistle.
The cigar girl then dodges some torpedoes and hops into a hot air balloon. She
Well, first,
crashes onto the...
Bond takes the shortcut by driving the boat on land.
Yes.
And for some reason, he's able to steer the boat while it's on the land to like go down alleys and stuff.
Sure.
I'm not sure exactly how
Nice callback to Live and Let Die, right?
Yeah,
Driving
it
the
was.
boat on land.
it was. But I'm not exactly sure how you get a boat to turn by turning the wheel on land.
So the cigar girl does escape, and she gets
Just in time.
Yeah, gets into a hot air balloon. Bond jumps up onto the shore and grabs a rope on the hot air balloon. Bond is then asking
Hot
him,
air balloon, by the way, perfect way to get away because they could never catch up
Never
to you.
track you.
They could never catch up to you or track you in
Yeah.
a hot air balloon. You're totally going to get away.
Zeppelin would have been better. A Zoran Industries Zeppelin.
That would have been awesome.
Bond asks for info from the cigar girl, says he can protect her, but she says not from him, and then she just blows up the helium tank. Bond falls down onto that's the O2 Arena. I don't know if you knew that. It was called something different then.
The Millennium Dome.
Yeah, but
At the time they
it's the
built
O2 Arena, which is a big concert venue over there.
Okay.
And she blows up and dies. And we get Bond
Yeah.
hanging from the arena, and we get the opening credits.
I read that sliding down the Millennium Dome stunt was super difficult, and
Yeah.
that when the stuntman actually misses
Yeah.
those ropes they're supposed to catch and then catches someone's later down, and they kept it in there on purpose to
Yes.
sort of show how hard it was.
I did hear that also in the commentary. So the theme song, "The World Is Not Enough" by Garbage. Definitely better than the last one.
It's better than the last one.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Not a great
Yeah.
one. It's a good one.
It's good, right?
Yeah.
It's a good song. There's nothing really wrong with it, but also like 10 days later, you don't necessarily remember anything but the chorus. But,
Yeah.
it's fine.
The actual credits, they're okay.
They're
I mean,
okay.
obviously there's like oil and stuff, and
Yeah.
that was the theme for that one. I think the previous one was better with like the digital stuff.
By the way, it took like half the movie to get to this point
This
where
was
the title is.
I believe this was, and this will remain the longest opening pre-credit scene.
Yeah, it's a long
It's like
time.
14 minutes or something.
You sort of think that the spot they would do it is when he escapes the banker's office,
Yeah.
right? That seems like the natural point where you would do it. And then you'd have the scene where the, MI6 blows up.
Yeah.
And apparently there was like real pictures of MI6.
Yeah. I think they wanted to give you a lot of exposition
Yeah.
right up front. They didn't want to stop the pace of it by putting the credits, so I think that's why they
Yeah.
did it. We now go to Scotland, and now we will be enjoying our first drink, which is the Talisker 10-year. We have our Talisker 10-year here. This is from the oldest distillery on the Isle of Skye, made by the sea, established 1830 and aged 10 years. It's ruggedly maritime,
Oh.
sweet smoke, peat, your favorite thing, and pepper.
Wow. Now, what's the ingredient for this cocktail? How'd you make this one?
I unscrewed the top of the bottle and poured it on the rock, on a rock in my glass.
And he did it all by himself.
I did.
Tracy didn't help at all.
Not at all, but she's going to help with the next one.
Okay, good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's no Highland Park cask strength, which is what I have in my decanter downstairs right now, but it is very good.
It's pretty good. I would say that it's not a super peaty one. It's kind of balanced, right? You get the peat, but it's not overpowering, and it's kind of nice, right? It's just kind of a balanced
Yep, not too sweet, a little smoky, a little peppery.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
With a hint of clovenberry. No, I'm just making that up because nothing drives me more crazier than people that say all these things about.
You know, I was about to reach for the bottle to see if it said that on the label.
Nice. So we are at Sir Robert King's funeral.
And we know we're in Scotland because
bagpipes.
The theme song blends right into the immediate bagpipes.
Yes.
And we also know we're there because the King of Zamunda is at the funeral.
Is that a Coming to America reference?
Yes, it is.
Nice.
But like the first thing they show is a guy who looks exactly like he's dressed like the King of Zamunda.
Played by the great James Earl Jones.
Oh, man. It's a good one.
Electra King, his daughter, meets briefly with M. And then we go to MI6, still in Scotland. The money explosion was started by a very elaborate process, but it basically boiled down to it started with urine. Because he said urea.
He said a urea
bomb,
and I think there was magnesium.
Yeah.
Because magnesium, I think, is reactive with water, right? Isn't that the one they always do in like high school chemistry where they put magnesium on a thing of water and it burns immediately?
Yes. I was going to be very childish and say started with pee-pee, but I decided to be an adult and say urine.
Okay, that's much better.
M seems to be taking this whole thing more personally, which makes sense. She went to, I forget, she said a weird term.
She read law.
She read law at Oxford with Robert King? Yes.
Yeah. They just read about it, mind you. They didn't major in it or anything. They just read it.
She states they will go to the ends of the earth to find the culprit. So Bond is kind of, what? He's kind of already looking at her kind of questioningly about this.
Well, they did blow up MI6.
They did.
At some points, I'm like, oh, is this a personal vendetta? But once they blow up MI6, you'd think okay, I guess they're all in now, you know?
All right. Bond is off active duty right now because of his shoulder injury from the fall from the hot air balloon. But Bond does not want this to happen, so he meets with the doctor to get cleared for duty. And he gets a little quip in here with the doctor, which is Dr. Molly Warmflash.
Of course.
What a name.
Is.
Well, let's just skirt the issue, shall we?
Yes. You know, in my journal, here's what I wrote.
Here we go.
Sex with hot doctor.
Nice.
I mean, this is how I always get myself a good diagnosis that I want from my physician, right? Because I find women react well to if you try to come on to them, they pretty much give you whatever you want.
It's never worked with my doctor. He's a nice guy, but it's never worked.
Right.
So yes, we get slap and tickle number 1 with Dr. Molly Warmflash. I don't know why. I can't help but see warm flesh every time. Yeah. They had to have purposely done that. Now this doctor is played by Serena Scott Thomas, who was in a Princess Diana movie back in the 90s, but her sister is much more famous. Her sister is Kristen Scott Thomas.
You know, I wondered. I didn't look it up, but I wondered.
Yeah, from The English Patient and Gosford Park. I best know her from the beginning of a James Bond ripoff called Mission Impossible. We now go to Q Branch, again, still in Scotland. We have a man with bagpipes that he shoots a dummy and then takes a flamethrower to the dummy.
Yes.
And
you got to have bagpipes. Yeah. You're in Scotland. You got to have... Because most Scots just walk down the street with bagpipes. So it's the perfect thing to disguise your weapon. Of course.
Bond quips here. I suppose we all have to pay
the piper.
I suppose we all have to pay the piper sometime, right, Q? And then Q says, oh, pipe down, 007. Q's pissed about his fishing boat being destroyed because that was apparently the bat boat was his fishing boat.
For his retirement.
Yeah. Q then introduces Bond to a young fellow named R, who Q has groomed to follow him. This is some guy by the name of John Cleese.
I've heard of that guy before.
I can't place him from anything. He might have been in some band called Monty Python. I think he might have been friends with a band called the Roodles. I don't know. Kids, look him up. I don't know anything about this guy.
Yeah, I heard they were looking for the Holy Grail at one point.
Oh. And the life of Brian.
Yeah.
And the meaning of life.
And the meaning of life. That's a tough one to find.
And a fish called Wanda.
Right.
Okay, I think we've done enough of them now.
I know, that's enough.
We see our gadget of the movie. Which, well, no, I'm actually not considering this a gadget because most of the stuff done later is not from this. But we do see the BMW Z8. This car was actually in final stages of development, so BMW was not able to supply completely finished cars. So the crew manufactured 3 on their own, with BMW supplying the components.
Pretty wild. It shows you what those movie people can do, right? They're crazy.
Yeah, I wish we really need to get a BMW sponsorship because then you could get new components for your car.
I know, right? Like the water pump. I'm pretty sure I need a new suspension.
Nice.
I'm sure that's very, very inexpensive.
So R puts on this jacket to show to Bond, and this is a gadget. This jacket inflates into a protective bubble after Q pulls the tag on the jacket. And Bond...
It's kind of funny.
It is. And Bond...
It looks like one of those, like, big, giant inflatable balls that they put people in at, like, a sporting event that you can see through, and it's like a giant hamster ball or something, you know?
Bond quips he seems well-suited for the job.
Yeah.
And this is where we're going to do something that I've never done before. We are going to play a brief snippet of the movie, which I hope nobody sues or comes after us for, because we'll call this fair use. And this is basically the last stuff we ever hear from Q.
You're not retiring anytime soon. Are you?
Now pay attention, 007. I've always tried to teach you 2 things. First, never let them see you bleed.
And the second?
Always have an escape plan.
And that's it. That's the very last line we ever see. He
sinks down into the floor as he says that.
Yeah. I loved that so much.
It was pretty good.
And I mean, who knows if, you know, this was going to be in trivia, but we'll go ahead and say it. Desmond Llewellyn, he died 2 months after this movie came out in a car wreck. He was driving home from a book signing and got hit head on by another car.
Wow. How old was he?
He was 85 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Desmond Llewellyn. That was a great send-off for Q.
He really, really was good as Q.
Yeah.
The way he delivered his annoyed lines at Bond was just really good.
I just thought it was really nice there at the end, though, when he said, "Now pay attention, 007," because he's always said that, but this time it got real serious and stuff. Almost shed a tear on that one.
Yeah, it's nice that they gave him an actual send-off. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we now have Bond watching video of Elektra King and her kidnapping ordeal.
Using a touchscreen monitor.
Yeah, did that exist? A touchscreen CRT monitor? I thought that was really weird.
You know what's funny? So I worked at a computer store in probably the late 80s. It would have been the late 80s, mid to late 80s. And the funny thing is, we had a touchscreen monitor in the store, right? It was interesting because you could tell, like, the way the monitor was, it probably wasn't actually touchscreen, but there were like sensors that, like, the edge of the monitor kind of stuck out, and there were little holes in it that you could tell were kind of like your garage door sensor, probably going across and up and down, so it could triangulate where your finger went.
Okay.
So it probably wasn't actually sensitive to touch, but obviously they had been trying to do this for quite some time. But I don't know whether touchscreen CRTs, I don't know how many of those there ever were or would have been. But of course, you know, I mean, in spy world, right? Of course there are.
Right. It's crazy. This was only like 25 years ago. And now we all have touchscreens constantly. How insane.
I still actually find them kind of annoying on computers. I never touch the actual monitor.
Oh, no, I've never used it on computer.
No,
but I mean, we look at our, our phones.
Yes, the
all
phones.
Time,
It's very good on the phone because you don't want to carry around a keyboard. But I never use it on the actual computer. It just gets fingerprints on there on your laptop or whatever. But he's researching a kidnapping, which honestly, the first time I watched it, I did not really fully understand the relevance of what on earth he was doing watching the video. And then he looks at a number on a piece of paper and he types it into this exchange rate thing. And I'm like,
why didn't he
what
just
is
Google
going
it?
on? I know, right?
Because the money returned was 3,030,303 pounds. That's
Okay,
really heavy.
who was returning money to him?
Okay, here's how
I don't understand why he had the box.
Here's
of
what
money.
I think. So the ransom for Elektra was $5 million.
Right.
And that converts to the 3 million whatever pounds. The father decided not to pay the ransom,
Right, I remember that.
and so he just got it back. I'm guessing like that bank was like an intermediary between him and the kidnapper.
But what? So he
He
sent
prepared
the money, but then he didn't want to use it.
Yes, that's
But then Bond says later that amount was like a sign. Like they were doing it on purpose. Like he didn't say it was the same money. Like I really don't understand what the heck was going on with that. There are still parts of this plot that I still feel are too complicated.
So talking
For
about
no reason.
talking about the plot a little bit. One of the reasons I think maybe it feels this way, because it certainly does. There was actually 4 credited writers
Okay.
of this. There was like the initial people that did like the first story. There was a guy that came in and bonded everything up, because before him there was a woman, I can't remember, she's somehow affiliated with Eon Productions or something, I think. I'll fact check that, and give it on errors and omissions next time. She came in and she wrote the parts about Elektra. And then they said, well, now Bond is kind of looking like a secondary character to Elektra. So then they brought in the guy that's really good at writing Bond. And then they, put all these stories together in one. And that makes it why it seems so convoluted.
Maybe.
But B, that's how we have all these different, the kidnapping plot and then Bond being with Elektra and stuff, as we'll get to later.
Okay. So Bond goes downstairs to tell M about what he discovered about this amount. And that's when he tells her, he says they're sending a message. Like, what does that even mean? But anyway, go ahead.
Well, Bond's trying to get more intel, and it turns out he doesn't even have the access to be able to.
Right.
And yeah, like you said, so he talks to M about Elektra. I didn't get that part of it. I trust you. I was more just talking, because for me, the big thing for me was that, she's telling Bond not to make it personal, but then he questions whether she's making it personal.
Right. When I watched it today, I caught that he says it's the exact amount they were sending a message. But I don't know. It's hard to tell.
But then M reveals that she did tell Robert King not to pay the ransom and
Yeah, she
admitted to
advised him.
using Elektra as bait. But if she was being used as bait, why was she already kidnapped?
She's already kidnapped.
Yeah.
I know.
We would really appreciate if somebody could figure this out for us and send us something. We'll read your message next week.
But they do show a really cool 3D holographic image of the guy's head.
That was like their biggest CGI moment of the movie, was that giant 3D thing of him. The kidnapper, by the way, his name is Victor Zokas. He goes by Renard, and he's an antichrist. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's an anarchist.
Anarchist. Same thing.
And like I said,
And he's got a bullet buried in his
Yes.
head. Where's it buried, Mike?
it's in the medulla oblongata.
Yes.
That's my little water boy impersonation.
Yes. Do you know what else in another franchise is buried there? A crayon that went into Homer Simpson's nose when he was a child. And they remove it when they figure it out. And he becomes super smart. And he doesn't like being super smart.
I remember that episode.
So he pays Mo to put it back in. And Mo says, the old Crayola obligata.
Isn't that the one where he like gets really close with Lisa, and then he tells
Yes.
Lisa he wants to be dumb again, and they have
He
one last.
gives her like a note saying how sorry he is that he has to go back to the way he was. But yes,
Yeah.
he has the Crayola
Nice.
obligata maneuver by Mo where he puts it up there. And when Mo's tapping it in there to see how far to go. And he gets to one point, and Homer's like, he's like, yes, I'll take the extended warranty.
Too far, too far.
Too far.
As I said, Renard is played by Robert Carlyle from Trainspotting and the Full Monty, amongst many, many other things. But yeah, so the bullet didn't kill him, and it just also causes him to feel no pain.
Right. He feels no physical pain. And the bullet will keep going, and he'll get stronger and stronger until he dies, according to the doctor. The doctor makes a little surprise entrance to explain the whole thing.
Bond states that Renard will probably go after Elektra because he's already gone after, Sir Robert King. Moneypenny brings in a paper for M that shows that Bond is cleared for duty. The doctor notes he has exceptional stamina. Yes. And Moneypenny then says as the doctor's leaving, I'm sure she was touched by his dedication to the job at hand.
Yes.
So M sends Bond to Azerbaijan to find out who assassinated Robert King.
He sends him to shadow Elektra. And he says, remember, shadows stay in front or behind, never on top.
Never on top. Well, that's going to go out the window.
Yeah.
So we're now in Azerbaijan and around the Caspian Sea. I learned a lot about Azerbaijan this last week.
They have a really cool Grand Prix there where if you watch the F1 race, they go through the streets of downtown and show like really cool castle and all kinds of cool old stuff.
The VHS Village, there's a huge group in there that loves F1. So when I was at the meetup in Philadelphia, they were all going to like this F1 bar.
Oh, nice.
And I just don't get it. Being from Indianapolis, it makes no sense to me. There's only one race, and that's all that matters. And it's a race I've never been to, but it's only one race.
You don't even know what you're talking about. And you know what? There's one race in IndyCar, but they race like 20 other races, Mike.
Yeah.
Not just that one.
Shout out to all the F1 fans that probably will never listen to this episode, but just know that you've been shouted out. Bond is driving his BMW, sees a helicopter with a fancy tree-cutting contraption on it. So like I said, no way we're going to see this later.
Oh, definitely not. No. It's just for cutting trees.
Bond arrives at the pipeline, meets with one of Elektra's stooges, henchmen.
Yeah, like the head of security, he said he was.
Head of security, yes. Named Davidov.
And she's not even there because he told her to stay in Baku.
Yeah. I had one of those moments with this guy where it's like, pointing at the screen, I know this guy. And his name is Ulrich Thompson. He's a Danish actor from a movie I watched earlier this year, a very, very good movie called The Celebration. It's a very disturbing movie because of like the content, the dialogue content. But I highly recommend it anyway because it's a really good movie. So that was crazy because that's like a weird independent kind of film, and just seeing him in this role was kind of funny. So the villagers are causing problems for the workers because they don't want the church destroyed by the pipeline that's coming through. Elektra arrives via helicopter. She meets with the local religious leader in a temple while Bond eavesdrops.
Wait, now they're upset because
there's a church there.
Their stone got taken by the doctor or by people, right? And then Dr. Jones has to go rescue the stone, right? Because they're using the stone, they have all the stones together, and then they can take people's hearts out of their chest.
Yeah. It's like, and Dr. Jones' father, he was one of those guys that almost got killed by a laser beam many, many years before.
Right.
Wow, that was quite a tangent we just went off on.
I mean, I really thought of like, oh, these are like the Indians, right, who get their stones stolen, right? These are the native people who are upset about this pipeline instead.
Yeah. Elektra orders the pipeline to be rerouted around the village or around the church, and the town cheers. This is where Bond meets Elektra. They discuss her father and the new pipeline that Elektra's company is building. Elektra asks Bond if he's ever lost a loved one, and he just skirts the question. We all know he did lose the Countess Tracy.
Yeah.
And the pipeline that she's building is going to be going through Turkey. And Bond shows Elektra the pin with the transmitter that blew up the money. It's just a lot of different things going on, back and forth here. Eventually, Elektra says she wants to check the survey lines, and Bond insists on joining her. So she says to him, I hope you know how to ski then. And Bond quips, I came prepared for a cold reception.
And out of just dumb luck, the pair of skis right on the truck next to him are made for his exact boot size.
Of course.
And they have the boots there too, and so he can use those. And definitely, there's no way you could have inspected that pipeline just from the helicopter, right?
Yeah,
you
you gotta get
definitely
down there.
have to jump out of the helicopter and ski down. Although it's some pretty awesome skiing.
I mean, it's been a while. I think
It has.
For Your Eyes Only was our last
Skiing.
Bond skiing.
Yeah.
So a helicopter drops Bond and Electra off on the slopes. And we get some henchmen coming along, and we get ski chase time. And this is where...
Yeah, and they don't just show up on skis,
oh,
man.
no. They show
Yeah.
up how you showed up to my house today in a Parahawk,
Exactly.
which
Yeah.
is... I didn't know the name. I found the name, but it's called a Parahawk. So it's like... It's a snowmobile that can fly, that has like a... very...
Well, it had like a wind turbine thing on the
Yes.
back end. So it's yeah.
and it's light enough that it could... You know,
It has
with the-
skis on the bottom, a wind fan on the back, and then it's hung from a parachute. I don't know, like, do you take off from the ground with it, or do you get dropped out of something and then the
a good
parachute
question.
opens? I don't know.
Electra is showing the place where the two pipelines are going to meet to Bond, and these Parahawks start shooting at them.
I wrote fan skis, by the way.
Nice. Grenades are being dropped on Bond, and then the Parahawks, they can multitask, so they drop the chutes, and then they drop to the ground as snowmobiles.
Yeah.
Bond jumps off a cliff to slice the chute of one of the Parahawks, causing it to veer out of control and fly into another Parahawk.
For some reason, tearing the chute causes the engine to sputter. Did you notice that?
I did.
It's making all these engine sputtering noises.
Very weird.
I'm like, I don't know how that works, but the sound effects guys are like, we got to do something to make it sound out of control.
Yeah. Bond and Electra get away, but then they're rolling down the hill, but they do get saved by the puffy jacket as snow is coming down on them. And they're inside of the jacket, and Electra's freaking out about being trapped inside.
Yeah, what was that all about?
I think that was, obviously, in hindsight, she was pretending, because just being a
guess.
captive, I guess. Maybe she was held in a very dark place. I don't know. So
was
many
weird.
weird plot things.
I also wasn't sure why the puffy jacket thing could withstand, thousands of tons of snow on
Yeah.
it. But it worked.
But Bond wasn't even wearing a puffy shirt underneath.
He was not wearing a puffy
There it is.
shirt.
There's another Seinfeld. Bond does cut the bubble open with a knife, and they escape. And now we go to Baku, which is the capital of Azerbaijan. And this is where we are going to have our second drink.
All right.
We are back with our second companion beverage, the Pearls of Baku. This is a pretty simple drink in terms of how easy it was for the Countess Tracy to make it with me. Has a cup of ice, 3 ounces of vodka, 3 ounces of pomegranate juice, tablespoon of powdered sugar for the rim, and a slice of fresh lime. And then there are actual pomegranate pearls put in the drink to garnish, which I can't really see.
No,
But-
it is very purple.
But cheers.
Cheers.
That's pretty good.
It is.
Not too sweet.
And you got powdered sugar on your face.
That's not powdered sugar. I had to take a break right before. And moving on,
Wow.
we're in Baku. Electra summons Bond to her room, asks him who is trying to kill her. She asks Bond to stay with her, but he refuses. So we'll go later in the day to the Casino L'Or Noir. This was filmed at the Hilton House in Buckinghamshire. I'm disappointed in myself because I think I said that right.
I'll bet you didn't. We'll find out.
Yeah. Bond gets to use another gadget. This is the X-ray specs. It was nice that everyone wore impenetrable underwear, and all the guys, I guess, didn't.
He didn't look at the guys.
Yeah, none of the guys. There's two girls you could see, and you saw their underwear, but you didn't really see that on all the other ones. But the big thing you saw was that everybody in the casino was packing heat, which was kind of funny.
It was. So I read about how they made this, that basically they filmed it twice so that each person in their regular clothes and then each person with like their weapons and the stuff that's supposed to show underneath, and then they put the film on top of each other.
Bond is there asking for a guy by the name of Zukovsky, who, if you remember,
We've heard of him before.
from GoldenEye, had the club in GoldenEye where Minnie Driver sang terribly. He demands to see him after the henchman gives him trouble about it. So Bullion arrives and invites Bond to visit with Zukovsky.
I did like how he dealt with the first guy who refused to take him back there.
Yeah.
Because he could see where all the weapons were. So he grabs the knife out of the guy's jacket and pulls his tie and knifes it to the bar and then pulls his gun out.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So Bullion, which is Zukovsky's henchman, is played by a guy by the name of Goldie, who is an electronic music artist. And I'll be honest, I put a song in the notes. I haven't listened to it yet. I don't know anything by Goldie.
Really?
But director spoke really high of him. He never acted. He did a really good job. I thought he was good in the role.
Yeah.
Zukovsky is now, he's the owner of the casino that they're at. And Bullion says goodbye. And as he's leaving, Bond quips, "I see you put your money where your mouth is," because he has all that gold on his teeth.
Yeah.
Bond shows Zukovsky a piece of fabric from the Parahawk that is actually a Russian Special Services logo, the Atomic Energy Anti-Terrorist Unit.
Oh.
So apparently the Parahawks were good guys.
Okay.
Bond tells Zukovsky that Renard is behind the attack on Elektra, and we won't do it, but they have shots of Smirnoff there. This drink we're drinking now actually has 3 ounces of Smirnoff, so we had our 2 shots of Smirnoff.
Yeah, I think that's good enough.
Yeah. Elektra arrives at the casino as Bond and Zukovsky are chatting. Bond tries to take Elektra home. She declines. Zukovsky invites her to a private table where they play the simplest card game in the history of Bond. A
Right?
game of war for $1 million.
$1 million. And not even war, just the first deal of
that's
war.
true.
We're just, the whole thing's going to be on this.
All right. When Elektra comes in, somebody like hands her. I think she gets handed the note, the $1 million note that she gets to use. That was Michael G. Wilson, the producer, stepson of Cubby Broccoli.
Oh, okay.
So he's kind of been in all of them lately. She pulls a Queen of Hearts, and it loses to the Ace of Spades. Bond and Elektra then chat. He asks about...
She seems pretty unconcerned.
Yeah, she doesn't care that she did that. So Bond clearly knows something's up. But he asks her about Davidov, her head of security, and she says that he has the night off. So now we go to Renard meeting with Davidov and a guy by the name of Arkov, who's a weapons supplier. He was the one that got the Parahawks to send after Bond.
Oh, okay.
So I guess they weren't actually good guys. He stole that stuff. Renard gives Davidov a hot rock to melt his
And
hand.
where are they? They're at the Devil's Breath.
Oh, the Devil's Breath.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which apparently is a Hindu place or something.
Okay.
Again, back to my thing with the,
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So he puts a hot rock in Davidov's hand because he's mad at Davidov for not being able to take care of Bond. And then tells his henchman to kill him. So we assume he's about to shoot Davidov in the back of the head, but he actually turns his gun to Arkov and kills Arkov, the weapons supplier. And
By the way, if you pick up a hot rock, even if you can't feel it, wouldn't it actually burn your skin?
One would
still?
think. One would think.
Yeah, and then you would have issues still because your skin is burned. Even if you can't feel it, that would be a problem.
Yeah. So Renard tells Davidov he now has the opportunity to, basically prove himself with Arkov dead. We're back at the King Mansion at night, and we get Slap and Tickle number 2, Bond with Elektra King. They discuss how Elektra survived the kidnapping by seducing the guards in any way possible. Bond then goes to do some recon.
After we see that he wears his Omega Seamaster in bed.
Oh, of course.
He never takes the Omega Seamaster off.
So he's doing some recon. He has this trusty Visa key card because
I did
apparently,
like that.
apparently he left home without his American Express.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he slides that open and a
Yeah.
key comes out. That was pretty good.
Bond spots Davidov, and then he finds Arkov's body in the back of a Jeep, truck of some sort.
Okay, why were people taking selfies in that building? That's what it looked
I don't
like.
know. Yeah, he had a Polaroid and he was taking a picture of himself.
It looked like he was doing a selfie.
It was because he was going to pretend to be Arkov. So he was taking the picture so he could make the fake ID with Arkov.
He was
I
making the
literally
fake
just
ID.
made the connection.
Wow, this is so
I know.
complicated. That's right, because then he
Yeah.
walks out, he's got the thing on, and Bond is hiding in the back of his car. Okay. I was like, why is he taking a selfie?
Yeah.
But yeah, Bond kills the guy and puts him in a dumpster.
Davidov leaves with a briefcase, goes to dispatch with Arkov's body, but they're at some like base at this point, some airport or something.
Yeah, looks like it.
Goes to dispatch with Arkov's body, but Bond is there instead, and Bond just kills Davidov right there.
Puts him in a dumpster.
So Bond takes his place. The guard questions Bond about what happened with Davidov and said he was buried with work. And
Yeah, and they just,
Oh, okay.
suddenly it's an English guy. All right,
Yeah, sure.
that's fine. Yeah.
Then we meet these airmen. Bond gives all the airmen new shoes. I guess that was the bribe for them to fly the
It
plane.
must have been, yeah, I know. You can tell Bond is very confused. They're like, did you bring, the grease?
Yeah.
And
the
they
grease
open
is
the
just
thing,
sneakers.
and it's just sneakers. And he's like, okay.
We now go to Kazakhstan. Very nice. This was actually filmed in central Spain, so unfortunately none of it was filmed in Kazakhstan. Bond makes his fake ID pretending to be Arkov, so there,
Right,
that now
right.
explains the...
Yeah, I guess so.
Davidov
He cuts
earlier.
his thing out of it,
Yeah.
the ID, and puts it on the,
He is driven to the nuclear test site where they're working to disarm and clean up the location. And this is where we meet Dr. Christmas Jones, an IDA physicist who's maybe auditioning as to be Laura Croft Tomb
Oh
Raider.
my gosh, I had a Laura Croft thing ready.
Yeah.
I know, right? She takes her nuclear suit off, and I mean, she is Laura Croft.
She is ready to raid some tombs for sure. This is played by Denise Richards. I will always think fondly of Denise Richards because of the movie Starship Troopers. She was in that as one of the main characters. She also appeared in movies called Wild Things and a Christmas movie we'll be watching soon, Love Actually.
Oh, yeah.
You ever seen that?
Yeah, I've seen
Okay.
it.
Small role. She's done a bunch of other stuff. She was previously married to Charlie Sheen, and she is definitely not a physicist.
No. Nor is she really the best actress in this movie.
She is not. But she tells Bond, don't make any jokes. I've heard them all. And Bond, in his Russian accent, I don't know any doctor jokes. That was pretty good. That's a
pretty
good
funny.
quip. Bond, he's going into the facility, and she tells him to don't forget his little nuclear badge to
Yeah.
tell if there's
See how much
radiation.
he's exposed
Yeah.
to.
And then she says something to him in Russian about how good his English is, and he responds in Russian perfectly. Bond.
I mean, if Bond's going to know any language, it's going to be
course,
Russian.
of course.
Yeah.
Bond then rides down a long shaft. We see some scientists doing scientific things by a nuke.
Yeah.
This is where Bond finds Renard and holds him at gunpoint. And I guess Renard was there. Why were they okay with Renard being there? I'm not 100% sure.
No, he was supposedly one of the real people working on
I
it,
guess,
I guess.
yeah.
And why didn't Bond have the silencer on to begin with instead of having to put it on after he's already had his gun to Renard's head?
Yeah.
You could have put it on during the ride down in the elevator.
Yeah. Renard does reveal that he's the one that saved Bond at the banker's office so that Bond could later help assassinate King. So the guy that shot the guy from outside. Renard plans to steal the nuke. We get some back and forth exposition between Bond and Renard. Renard threatens to kill Elektra. Then we have Dr. Christmas showing up, revealing that Bond is not Arkov. Arkov is some old man. Renard then grabs Bond's hurt shoulder And we have a guard there. One of the main guard is like insisting on figuring out what's going on.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, Renard and his henchmen start to shoot the place up. They take out all the other guards, but conveniently they don't take out Bond and they don't take out Dr. Christmas Tree. I'm sorry, Dr. Christmas Jones.
So do you remember what Renard says when Bond puts the gun to him and is threatening to shoot him? And he says, "You can't kill me because I'm already dead."
Yes.
And Bond says, "Not dead enough for me."
That's pretty good.
That's my favorite quip of the whole one.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I didn't even put that one. Nice. Bond and Christmas do flee. The silo gets sealed, but Bond is able to MacGyver his way out with his watch by taking it off and using it as a rappel that's strong enough to stick into concrete so that he can pull himself up.
It's a good thing that the zip line is faster than the explosion. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know anything about explosions, but they're notoriously slow.
Well, we're not quite there yet.
Oh, okay.
This is just him getting up and out the first time.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I know what you're saying. Bond hides behind a rail cart as he pursues Renard. Christmas is doing some hot wiring. Renard escapes and sets the bomb. I wonder if he set it for 6 minutes or 3 minutes.
I know, right?
Bond escapes.
He said it. He had a pretty good way of setting it, right? Because he gets in the elevator, and it's got bulletproof glass, as most elevators will.
Of course.
And he has like a rope or a string tied to the key that pulls out of the bomb and then starts the timer, so that when the elevator goes up, it automatically pulls that key out. And
right.
I mean, he's only got like 1 minute or less.
So Bond escapes, and like you were saying, he escapes on a chain as the place is blowing up. And this is where the chain goes faster than the explosion.
And then he gets through that door that she amazingly opened by hot wiring it, and then they close the door after Bond has like fallen into the room. But there's still lots of explosioning going on, so they have to keep going.
Yes. Bond drives away with the nuke while Bond and Christmas climb out of the silo. Christmas asks, "Who are you?" And he says, "Bond, James Bond." We probably should do a count of how many times he says Bond, James Bond.
right?
I don't think there's a movie he doesn't say it.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. They escape the silo just in time, of course.
Because they can climb faster than the explosion goes up that tube.
Yeah. And Renard's flying away at this point. And it turns out the nuke cannot be tracked because the signal card was removed.
Yeah.
And Bond got
That's
hold
a
of
huge
that
bummer.
signal card. Yeah. We have a brief snippet at MI6. Elektra contacts M, says that Bond has disappeared, Davidov is dead, and asks M to go to her.
Do you remember what happens when they say that Elektra is calling? Do you remember what M says? Put her on the wall screen.
Put her on the wall screen. Nice.
Yeah, and she's got screens, like 2 of them, up on the wall.
All that crazy sci-fi technology
I
that would
know,
never
right?
really exist.
No, goodness, no.
We're back at Baku and the pipeline. Bond confronts Elektra about Renard. He knows she's working with Renard. He says it's called Stockholm Syndrome and that she has a thing for Renard now. She fell in love with her kidnapper. Elektra tries to table the turns on Bond, saying he used her as bait. M arrives at the pipeline to meet with Elektra and Bond. Bond doesn't think M should be in the field, is convinced Elektra is the villain. The bomb that they stole has been placed in the pipeline. Bond and Christmas head to the pipeline.
Well, it's not just placed in there.
It's on a cart.
It's on the like inspection device, which this is not our first pipeline inspection thing.
It's a Diamonds Are Forever. Made me think of Diamonds Are Forever, unfortunately.
Well, they also in
View to a Kill.
A View to a Kill, that's how he gets the Russian guy to escape, is puts him in that thing that goes through the pipeline.
I was thinking about that, the little cutter thing for the pipe.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bond and Christmas, they have to defuse this bomb.
I noticed that it was in miles per hour, which I just thought was interesting because I guess since it's British at the time, they're still doing miles per hour. And maybe they still, I think now they're sort of split miles per hour kilometers, right?
If only we knew
Metric and
somebody that
everything,
could tell us.
I know.
So they hop on the pipeline vehicle, which I forget what these things are called. And like I said, brings back not so fond memories of Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah.
Way too CGI-y in this scene with them
Going through
on
the
that,
pipe?
Yeah, going through the
Going
pipe.
through the tube
Yeah.
at 60 miles an hour or
Yeah,
something
up
like
to
that.
70, I think. I think
Yeah.
they had to go 70 because that's how fast the bomb
Other
was
one's going. So they want to join up very gently with it,
Right.
which they do.
They do. The two vehicles do get locked together, and Christmas then tries to defuse the bomb.
With her Palm Pilot.
Of course.
With the Palm Pilot stylus.
Nice. But the screw heads are stripped on the bomb.
Yeah, but I don't understand how that comes into play because, like, in the very next scene, they've extracted the plutonium.
Yeah, seems unnecessary.
I mean, how did they get in there
Yeah.
if the screw heads were stripped? They never explained that.
No. Turns out half of the plutonium is missing, so it will not go nuclear. So Bond tells Christmas to let it blow. And then he tells her to let the bomb blow
They
up.
take the nuclear part. Yes. They take the nuclear part and let just the triggering high explosives go.
Yes.
They take the plutonium with them because
To
it
fake
would have
a
been
death.
like a
They
dirty
wanna-
bomb.
Yes.
Right?
They want to fake a death.
Yeah.
They jump off the vehicle just in time, which, I mean, it's still going 70, right? How are you not?
Into a metal
Killed.
tube.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that would hurt.
Yeah.
And they, you know what I thought immediately? I'm like, they could have worn helmets at least. They knew they were getting in this thing.
Yeah. Electra, we're back at MI6. Electra gives M her father's pen. M's like, I don't think this is the time. But then it's revealed that Electra is the
Then
main
they just shoot everybody.
Yeah, Electra's the main bad guy.
I mean, she hands it to her and then they shoot everyone else in the room.
Before taking him away, M gives Electra a good slap and then gets taken away in a helicopter. Our slap count's on par with our slap on tickle count in this one.
Yes. By
Because
the way,
Electra slapped Bond earlier in the movie.
so since M is like the head of MI6, you know what popped into my head?
What's that?
I really wanted her to go like full Yoda mode. Like, remember the first time you actually in like the Phantom Menace or whichever one, and suddenly Yoda fights and he goes like totally insane, like he's walking around with crutches the whole time, and then suddenly Yoda can like totally fight everyone and totally destroy everyone. I was waiting for M to do like some secret moves and like actually start fighting.
We're going to have an aside here. That was from Attack of the Clones.
Okay, I knew it was one of those.
And I saw that movie at least 3 times in the theater, and that's my favorite Star Wars scene of all time.
It's awesome, right?
And do you know who Yoda fought in that scene?
Count Dooku?
Do you know who Count Dooku is?
I've forgotten, but I know.
The man with the golden gun.
Oh, nice.
It all circles around.
It does.
We just tied Yoda to Bond.
Well, because the first
Perfectly.
thing I thought is, since she's M and she like walks around like she's an old lady,
Yeah.
she's suddenly going to turn into Yoda and like totally kick this girl's ass.
Yeah.
But
No, she just
sadly
smacks
no. Sadly, instead they just put her into a prison cell that has a whole bunch of antiques in it. That's where they keep their antiques or something.
Back in the pipeline, Bond's plan was to pretend to be dead. He tells Christmas that Electra blew up the pipeline to make her look innocent. They get out of there, and Christmas is like, I have to get that plutonium back or somebody's going to have my ass. Bond glances down and says, first things first.
That's a good one.
It really is.
Yeah.
Christmas then says, what's the story with you and Electra? And this is like the edifice complex from the
Yeah,
last one. I
yeah.
told you about this.
Yep.
We're strictly plutonic now.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Bond now discovers that M is missing. Now
Right,
we're,
because they get back to,
Yeah.
or how does he discover that? They get back to the
I
headquarters.
think he gets called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're now in Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Oh, so good. You have to do it.
You have to.
Yeah.
And Countess Tracy watching this, she's like, every time that they said Istanbul, she had to say, not Constantinople. It's pretty funny.
Do you know who originally sang that song? Because I don't.
It's some old.
Yeah, it's
it was
very
an old
old.
group.
Yeah.
It's like Sam Sham and the Sham Shams or something like that.
It's a great song.
We're gonna fact
Great
check
song.
that.
Yeah.
Electra greets Renard and the plutonium. Like you said, we see M locked up, and Renard comes in and he blames her for corrupting Electra.
He blames her because because she left Elektra with him, and
Yeah.
he's obviously evil. So it's not his fault that he's evil and does terrible things to her. It's M's fault because she didn't pay the ransom, and therefore
Yes.
he corrupted her.
Exactly.
Yeah. It makes total sense, right? This is like logic that teenagers use about why things aren't their fault.
Right. Renard then sets a timer for M and says that's when she's going to die. Elektra and Renard then have their own little slap and tickle. And M, we see, is trying to pull the clock towards her cell, and it falls off the stool.
So do you remember, like, Renard shows Elektra the plutonium that he has or whatever
Yes.
that he stole, and he tells it to touch your destiny.
That's some crazy writing.
But that's Star Wars too, right?
Yeah. We're now back on the Caspian Sea. We're like, it's Baku, Azerbaijan, because we're going to these docks, and Zukovsky is there to check out his caviar factory. Bullion, we see this is where we see that Bullion is not working for Elektra. He's not working for Zukovsky. He's working for Elektra.
Yeah.
Tells her that Bond is alive. Zukovsky meets a very, very attractive Dr. Christmas sitting in a chair in some office. And then he closes the door and gets surprised by Bond. Bond then questions why Elektra wagered $1 million in his casino. Basically, Zukovsky has been supplying her with information and help with stuff.
But just as a businessman,
Yes.
not as someone who understood her plot.
Right.
Because nobody could understand the actual plot.
And then guess what? Chekhov's tree cutter arrives.
Imagine that.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought that those gigantic saws hanging from a helicopter would try to kill anyone?
It gives new meaning to the word chopper with that, by the way.
It is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I love those saws hanging down from that chopper. That's good stuff.
Bond escapes the factory, dodges machine guns and missiles. The helicopter does a Lorena Bobbitt on the pipes. Bond activates his car.
Lots of stuff gets cut in half in
does.
this scene. Lots of stuff. And not just gets cut in half.
Yes.
Everything that gets cut exactly in half.
Yeah. The BMW shoots a missile and destroys another helicopter. But then the tree cutter...
Why wouldn't you kill the one that has the big saws on it?
The tree cutter then destroys the BMW, and Bond quips, Q's not going to like this.
Yes.
The cutter heads for the caviar plant. Zukovsky and Christmas escape. Bond spots henchmen jumping from the helicopter, glides across the mayhem. Zukovsky protects Christmas while he fires on the henchmen. The cutter then slices the dock and causes Zukovsky's car to plummet into the water.
It's a pretty nice car.
Yeah. Bond continues fighting the henchmen while Zukovsky and Christmas swim away. Bond finally does blow up the cutter helicopter while CGI blades destroy everything except for they miss Zukovsky. Those were bad. Those looked really bad.
Yeah.
They did not age well. Zukovsky then falls into the caviar. And they said that it looked better the first time they filmed it.
Yeah.
But they had to film it again, so it basically looked like motor oil. You didn't really see like
right?
the eggs or
you
anything.
didn't see like it probably all settled,
Yeah.
right, or something. Right. It looked like he was in a vat of oil.
And apparently they filmed that on Robbie Coltrane's birthday, so he got to lay in that slop on his birthday.
Oh my gosh. Probably for hours on end.
Yeah. Zukovsky reveals that he did supply arms for Elektra, says he's smuggling machinery for her into Istanbul, and that he has a nephew that's on a submarine, nuclear submarine.
That they're delivering to Zukovsky.
Yes. Bullion arrives, helps Zukovsky out of the caviar as the factory just completely falls apart.
And Bond says, it's too bad we don't have any champagne. When Zukovsky's trapped in there, right? And
Dr.
Christmas says,
and cream
or sour cream.
or sour cream.
Like, I guess that's probably like an American joke or something.
Have you
I'm guessing.
Have you ever had caviar?
I've had caviar.
I've had it like once.
I've had it I've had it a handful of times. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was nothing special. Like, I don't understand why
Yeah.
it's so great. It was okay.
It's probably like Bollinger and all these other things that we're dying to try, but
Yeah.
really don't want to pay for.
I mean, it's practically. I mean, the cracker's just as good that you put the caviar on,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and
Put it on a
those
wheat
are like
thin.
Townhouse or something, right? I mean, I don't know. It was fine, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah. We're back in Istanbul, not Constantinople. Renard scopes out the arrival of a submarine. Zukovsky takes Bond and Christmas to the FSB, which is a former KGB warehouse.
Right.
Elektra wants a submarine to cause a meltdown to destroy Istanbul so that the King pipeline is the only way for oil to get transported from Azerbaijan. I did read about this a little bit. Azerbaijan, like especially in the early 20th century, huge amounts of oil came from there.
Okay.
That's why they got probably so wealthy. And then the city of Baku, which it seems like it's a really nice city.
Yeah.
Apparently, like year round, it has like gale force winds.
Oh,
I guess
wild.
just being on the Caspian Sea or
Yeah,
whatever, and the way it's positioned. I'd never known anything about this country or about this city. So I thought that was a pretty fascinating stuff.
Well, I feel like it's one of those countries where, for at least the first part of my lifetime, it was just part of the Soviet Union, right? You didn't know anything about.
You didn't know the before and then the after.
To us, the Soviet Union was one thing.
Right.
We didn't know about Ukraine and Georgia and Azerbaijan and all these things, right? It was just the USSR.
Yeah.
So
You don't know how lucky you are.
I don't. But yeah, it is. It looks like a really cool place.
Renard meets with the sub captain. He says he's bringing them some nice refreshments after their long journey.
Oh, you should definitely eat and drink those.
Yeah. This is Elektra chatting with him, who,
So Elektra is wearing a carpet.
okay.
It looks like she is wearing like an oriental rug that she's wrapped around
I
her,
did
right?
notice that.
Since she was with Renard, she has not put clothes on really. She
Okay.
wrapped this rug looking thing around her that looked like an oriental rug in the room, and she's still wearing it when she goes down to talk to M.
Now, do you know, did that carpet match the drapes?
I'm pretty sure it did.
M asks Elektra for the time, and Elektra says it's time for you to die.
And M is MacGyver.
No kidding. Because Elektra takes the clock and puts it right on the end of her cell. So
Thank goodness.
M takes the clock apart, and then with that, she's able to get a battery out of there, something that powers her locator card so that MI6 can find her.
How crazy is it that isn't the first MacGyver? We both
I
had
know.
MacGyver references in our notes
We
for
have.
two different places in the movie.
Are we going to do an entire podcast dedicated to MacGyver? I don't think anybody's done that yet, have they?
I think Patty and Selma did.
Nice. No, we're only going to do the MacGyver reboot. We're not going to do the original.
There's a MacGyver reboot?
Yes, there was a
Oh my
MacGyver reboot.
gosh.
I think Richard Dean Anderson even appeared in an
Oh, wow.
episode.
It could never be as good because you had to do it during times that were cheesy. Now it would have to be too real, right?
Richard Dean Anderson's second greatest TV role of all time is MacGyver.
Wait, what's his first one?
Stargate SG-1. I love Stargate
No, I've never
SG-1.
seen that. I will tell you, I saw the movie in the theater, Stargate, and the movie is fantastic.
The movie's good, but
It's really
I
good.
love the show. The show went forever,
Interesting.
like 10 years. Wow, we went way off on a tangent.
So
on
did
that
they
one.
just like keep going through the Stargate every time? Like, what do they do? On
Yeah,
the
they
show?
go,
Hey,
all
let's
these-
go back through the Stargate.
Yep, they go to these. Well, they discover more Stargates, and they go to different worlds, and they realize
Not
that
just the like Egyptian world.
yes, they realize that people have been spread all over the universe. Wow, we've gone way off of Bond at this point. But seriously, SG-1 is great, and they are making a new Stargate series. We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Bullion sets a bomb that apparently kills Zukovsky, and then he takes Bond and Christmas to Elektra. As we said earlier, Renard provided some refreshments, but he's a terrible host because all the submarine crew was killed by said refreshments.
Yeah. Actually, I thought passed out, but I bet you're right.
I think they were dead because I think he said to
you're
throw them out
probably
in the water.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Bond and Christmas are brought to Elektra. Elektra says to Bond, I could have given you the world, and this is our alert where we get the name of the movie. Bond says the world is not enough. And I forget what Elektra says here, but Bond basically says family motto.
Now, are we going to discuss where that... We haven't discussed where that
No,
comes from,
that
right?
comes from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the book, and then the movie. They both say it. It is Bond's family motto.
we're going from Tomorrow Never Dies, possibly the worst name for a Bond movie, to The World Is Not Enough. Excellent name for a Bond movie.
It's good.
Yeah, because it ties in. Like, it means something too, right? It's not even just like they thought of a saying. It's pretty good.
I don't agree with you on Tomorrow Never Dies, just so we're clear.
I do have a question for you, though.
Yes.
Do you know what happens when a man gets strangled?
Under what circumstance?
I don't know. That's what Elektra asks Bond when she puts him in the chair.
Yeah.
And starts turning the screw.
Yeah, so we get an old-fashioned torture chair here. Turns out Elektra turned Renard when she realized her father wasn't going to rescue her. So there was no Stockholm Syndrome.
Right, exactly. I mean, she basically admits that not only has she been playing Bond, but she was playing Renard to do her plot and basically kill himself. So it wasn't that he turned her to his plan. She turned him to her plan.
Yeah. And
She's
apparently,
diabolical.
To make it convincing, she Van Gogh'd herself. She cut off her own ear. And then we get this great CGI shot of her missing part of her ear.
She pulls her hair back and you see it.
Takes the clip off. At this point, Zukovsky arrives and saves Bond from one last screw, which normally Bond would be pissed about, but in this case, it's okay.
He does. They do talk about one last screw.
Yeah. He does kill Bullion. And then Elektra almost kills Zukovsky. But Zukovsky's prone on the ground. He has just enough time to aim his gun. He first points it at Elektra, and then he aims it at Bond. And he shoots Bond. But he shoots the leg restraint. Or the cuffs restraint. Yeah, the arm restraint.
And she says, wow, he really hates you.
He really hates you. But of course, this allows Bond to escape because we can see the little smile on Zukovsky's face as he dies.
You know, and it's not just a gun he has. It is a cane.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool gun.
And where have we ever heard about a cane gun before?
Tell me.
The book Casino Royale. There's a cane gun.
I will admit, I have not read Casino Royale in probably 15 years.
Yeah.
I will obviously be reading it here pretty soon, but I haven't read it in a while, so I'll have to look at that. I'll have to remember that.
Yeah.
Bond gets away as Elektra flees. M is then freed by Bond. And then Bond catches up to Elektra, tells her to call off Renard. She refuses.
Because he suddenly has a walkie-talkie.
Of course. Elektra says that he would never kill her. And then, of course, Bond immediately kills her.
Yeah.
You wouldn't kill me.
Well, because
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's a line here. She says, you wouldn't kill me, you'd miss me.
Yeah.
And then Bond shoots her and kills her.
Well, because she's about to tell Renard that not to call it off.
Yeah.
Right? She's going to say something, so he kills her.
Yeah. And Bond says, I never miss.
Yeah. And then he leans over and just brushes her hair aside from her face very gently as M walks in the room.
Yeah. Bond then jumps out the window. I could have sworn that this was a dummy that was being thrown down to jump by the submarine. It was not. It was a diver. It looked like
it was like a crazy swan dive
Yeah.
into that water next to the submarine.
And then Bond swims to the submarine. Bond continues to show his discrimination for anyone with a cigarette and asks the henchman where Christmas is and then knocks him out.
Yeah, I mean, he goes and kills some people. He opens the door of the submarine or whatever, hatch, I suppose they call it. Gets in the submarine and then wreaks havoc.
Yeah.
He gets the guy and then leads to release Christmas.
Yeah, we see Renard watching the plutonium rod get made because they're refining plutonium so that they can blow up Istanbul.
I didn't really understand this. There's a lot of like lasery looking, blue glowy light and stuff like that. And then they're putting it in like this giant gold pencil or something.
Yes. Bond commandeers the control room, flips some levers, and it causes the submarine to tip and point down.
Right, because he was going to go up.
Yeah. After a shootout with Bond, Renard tries to get the submarine straightened, but the sub hits the bottom and starts to flood.
And she says, so we're going up? And Bond says, slight miscalculation.
Bond and Christmas do try escaping up the hatch, but Renard grabs the plutonium rod. Bond escapes through the hatch.
The giant gold pencil.
I'm sorry, the giant gold pencil. Bond escapes through the hatch to get to Renard's location, so he has to go outside and around and get in.
I mean, that was pretty wild,
Yeah.
right? Because the place is filling up with water
Yeah.
where she is, and she's got to hit the button to let him in.
Yep.
And thankfully, the door was open on the other side, so he
Yes.
could get into the chamber or whatever, decompression chamber or whatever the heck it is.
All right.
Yeah,
Bond
it
gets
in there.
Bond gets the drop on Renard, rescues Christmas.
Renard's trying to put that big, as I put it, he's trying to put a gold sword into something.
Yeah. But then Renard grabs his big rod and says, "Welcome to my nuclear family."
Yeah.
And then gets into another fight with Bond. Bond outfoxes Renard, reveals that Elektra is dead.
I also couldn't figure out, Bond tells him this, and then Bond proceeds to take the beating of his life for some reason and not fight back. Like, what was the point of making Renard pissed? And then he takes a serious beating. Renard locks him in the other room, and in theory, the whole thing's over.
Yeah. He takes out Bond for a second, Renard does. And then the man with the golden rod tries one more time to force it into the hole. But Bond reverses the suction, so the rod gets sent into Renard. Now, I was listening to the commentary on this, and they were like, yeah, we really wanted that rod to go all the way through him and kill him, but the UK censors wouldn't let us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't really understand. As I wrote in my notebook, why does the gold thing shoot out?
Yeah.
I mean, Bond...
He reversed the polarity.
I guess so. He hooks a hose to something. Maybe he crossed the streams.
Maybe he did.
Maybe he spun the world backwards. But I don't understand why it shot out. He just hit some button and then the thing flies out of there.
Yeah, maybe it was
The
an
ejection button.
Yeah,
Must have been the
emergency
ejection.
Yeah. Christmas wants to stop the reactor from blowing up. Bond sends her to the top of the submarine. Bond and Christmas do eventually torpedo.
He floods the reactor.
He does.
So he explains to us that
does.
it will be safe even if whatever happens.
Because he definitely needed to explain that to a nuclear physicist that was standing next to him.
I know. Because he had to explain it to us because the whole thing was so confusing.
Bond and Christmas do torpedo away as the submarine CGI explodes. So we're now back in Scotland. M asks for word on Bond. Bond and Christmas enjoy some very fake fireworks in the background.
Yes.
While drinking some champagne in Turkey. I assume it was Bollinger. And Bond says, I've always wanted to have Christmas in Turkey. And Christmas says, so isn't it about time you unwrapped your present? We're back at MI6. M and crew watch Bond and Christmas on the radar. We get slap and tickle.
Well, it picks up body heat.
It picks up body heat. And
You
it
ever
looks
seen
like
that?
there's...
You ever seen that movie?
I have not.
Body Heat?
That's on my Borny of movies that came out the year I was born.
Oh, really?
So I probably should watch it soon.
I guess you should.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
William Hurt.
There's some body heat in there.
Who's the woman? Is it Kathleen
Some
Turner?
lady.
Kathleen Turner?
Dude, you know I don't know these things.
That's right. We get slap and tickle. Number 3 with Christmas Jones. And Bond says, I was wrong about you. Christmas says, yeah, how so? And we get our quip, which is my pick for quip for this movie. I thought Christmas only comes once a year. And that's it. That's the movie.
Wow. There you go.
R has some sort of comment too, but it wasn't good enough to write down.
He says, that must be the Millennium Bug.
That's right.
Yes. Because when they're showing just Bond, suddenly you see her leg come out from the side in the body heat image.
Makes me think of...
And M apparently doesn't really understand what's happening.
Couple trivialities. As I stated, Desmond Llewellyn died December 19th, 1999 from injuries sustained in a car accident. The Parahawk chase was shot in France. It took 170 crew members 4 weeks to do the 6-minute snow scene and the 3.5-minute chase scene. This was the first time Pinewood Studios was used since The Living Daylights.
Speaking of how long it took to do things, I read, I don't know if it's true, it took 5 months to do the scene where the helicopter saw totally chopped up the entire place. I mean, that's insane.
I know. This is why you don't just have one director on a movie. You have a second unit director and you have a third unit director, so they can do all this stuff at the same time. Because the other thing about
they can just chop it up and then do a couple scenes where they have the people in it, probably.
Listening to the commentary, the director was told, like, this is the date the movie's coming out.
Yeah.
So you have to do everything within this. I think they started shooting January of 99 and it came out November 99.
This sounds like my job every day.
Yeah.
We've decided when this is going to be released. Now, go figure out what it's going to take to do that.
Insane.
Yeah.
Book comparisons. Once again, no book. The world is not enough is just Bond's family motto from Her Majesty's Secret Service. So we'll go to final thoughts and rating. Things I liked. I think the villain was pretty good, and I liked the villain turn of Elektra.
Yeah.
I didn't like the CGI. There wasn't a lot of it, so it wasn't a big deal. Denise Richards, I think she's better than I remembered her being, but she's still miscast on it.
She's not great.
Yeah. So I am going to give this one 5 stars, number 1 movie. No, I'm just kidding. No. This is actually
You're giving me a heart attack there.
I'm being maybe a little generous, but I'm going to say 3 stars. Because you get a lot of good Bond stuff in this. You really do. It's just plot.
I'll give it 3 stars.
The plot is insane.
The plot is insane. The action's very entertaining, right?
Yeah.
Bond is Bond. The villain is good. It could have been better if they made the plot more understandable and you understood what these people were doing and why.
Yeah.
But it was still a very entertaining movie. I don't know if I'll ever get to 2 stars on these Bond movies, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, you even gave Diamonds Are Forever 3, which is
It's still got a lot of good Bond stuff in. Scorpions biting people and all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah. So I am going to say I'm still gonna. So we've done 18 so far. This is number 19. I'm gonna put this at 18. I'm still gonna put it above Diamonds Are Forever, but I still think, despite the clown and everything, I still think I liked Octopussy better than I liked this one.
All right, let me see what you got over there. What are my ratings? Give me the master
You have 2
list.
other. Yeah, you have 2 other 3 stars. Both Octopussy and Diamonds Are Forever are 3 stars.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna put it at the same place.
18.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I understood
it's
the plot
not a
of
bad movie.
At least I understood
know,
the plot
right?
of Octopussy.
Yeah. And in some ways, I mean, dressing up as a clown, it is silly, but he's at a circus and he has to be disguised.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, look, the movie's still highly entertaining.
Yeah.
It has a lot of very entertaining parts, but they could have simplified the plot and taken some of the confusing stuff out of it.
Yeah. I'm going to put the song at 12. So I'm just going to put it right above Thunderball.
Okay. I'm going to put it at 12 also, but that's in, different territory for me, but it is 12. It's right below From Russia with Love, which I like.
Slap and tickle count, we're now up to 45.
Okay.
45
I mean,
slaps and
very
tickles.
close to a boat because a submarine's a boat, but no.
Yeah, but that's done and gone. They're
I know.
They're
said
drinking
close.
their champagne.
I said close.
in a
I'm
room.
just
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, it was close, but I guess a submarine at the bottom of the sea, you want to get out of there as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And apparently, if you exhale as you're going out, like Bond finally explains why you don't get the bends. Apparently, if you just exhale while you're going up, you're totally fine. I don't know why scuba divers don't do that if they ever have to surface really quickly. Just exhale and you won't get the bends.
Yeah, you guys are supposed to be certified and really smart, and you
I know.
didn't know that.
And
Jeez.
Bond just told us the secret right there.
So the Bond and the boat count remains at 10.
Yeah.
In our next episode, our final Pierce Brosnan, Die Another Day.
So not today, but another day.
Another day.
Okay.
That'll do it. Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks, Mike.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Bottled in Bond. If you'd like to send us a message, you can do so at bottledinbondpod@gmail.com. Till your next briefing, pour yourself a drink, light a smoke, and find yourself a spirited companion. Goodbye.